Okay, let's move into it. So, ego state is wanting from a place of wanting that dopamine rush. That's what's really the understanding of. We want something in order to have a reward of dopamine. So for example, the reason we will eat chocolate is because we're going to get that hit of dopamine. The reason we will have sex is because we're going to hit that dopamine. The reason we'll take drugs, drink a lot, is because we're going to get that instant dopamine. Now, instant dopamine is always going to pull you down. Anything instant. And if you've got a dopamine dependency where you need something, then there needs to be measures put in place. Because realistically speaking, if you want to change your life, you have to shift your focus from the easy dopamine to the more difficult dopamine. And it's not necessarily more difficult, it's more rewarding dopamine long term. Because think of it this way. When I used to take drugs, I would take drugs and that would make me instantly confident. I actually learned how to become confident through reading books, through therapy, through speaking to people, through mentors. It's a much longer process. So if I'm being honest, taking the drugs was easier for me, but it had long-term implications, which gave me anxiety, which gave me depression, which gave me just so many mental health issues and really like suicidal thoughts all the time. So if you want to move away from that, then you have to move towards a dopamine dependency on the more empowering things that do actually take effort. Because think about it this way. Have you ever been given something and you just take it for granted just because you've been given it? Versus, and if you're, depending on how old you are, when you bought your first phone. When you bought it yourself, you put it down. You didn't chuck it on the bed, you placed it down. Until obviously that dopamine sort of wore off and it was just part of your life. But you put it down, you wouldn't chuck it. Whereas if your parents bought it for you years ago, I remember I had a flip Motorola. It was the coolest thing. And that was like my precious baby for the first day until it wore off. Whereas when I paid for it, there's something different about that because I worked for it. I earned it. A great example is understanding a spoiled child. Someone who's very spoiled has been given everything and they demand everything now. Versus someone who's come from very humble beginnings will always encourage their family and their kids to work for something. And not that they won't give it to them, but just installing that belief system in them, which is very powerful. So if you can remove yourself from the dopamine dependency and move to more empowering things, and I'm going to give you a list of a few things that you can start doing, that if you do these, you will have long-term success with all of them. Something like working out, lifting weights, going for a run. Immediately, it's hard and difficult. Long term, you're going to get a six-pack, you're going to get bigger biceps, you're going to be healthier, you're going to feel better. A second thing is something like meditation. Sitting there quiet with your thoughts is difficult to start with, and I'm going to be honest. For me now, it's a piece of cake because I just enjoy it. I really enjoy it now. Whereas when I first started, 5 minutes was a lot for me. Now I do at least an hour a day, and that's just my life. That's what I've incorporated. Something else that's a great thing you can do is cold showers, because immediately they're difficult and horrible. They have good effect on your immune system and also long-term health benefits, but also you're disciplining yourself to do things that are uncomfortable. And similar with lifting weights, it's not comfortable to lift weights. It actually hurts. It actually tears your muscles, but then they repair and they grow stronger. So when you start to do that in other areas of your life, like cold showers, then you start to have a better impact as well. Eat more healthy foods. Remove yourself from the easy dopamine hit of a cake and have a salad. I'm not saying you have to only eat salads, because I do eat some processed foods, but I have a healthy lifestyle. And when you have a healthy lifestyle, having something bad isn't actually that bad. It's actually giving you a balanced diet. Writing, physical contact, all these types of things. Something that is actually going to... And also healthy relationships, that's one as well, because if you are constantly in toxic relationships, then you're always going to be looking for toxicity and you're never going to find true happiness, because you're always going to be more comfortable in the toxic sense. And that takes healing. That is a healing process. But the more you focus on your phone, the news, and I still have to do this because I work on social media. I have to, on Sundays, I have no phone because I get addicted to it, and it is very difficult for me to get off of it. So I have to put measures in place so that I don't get addicted to it. And also, if you can't go a day without your phone, then you have a problem. And that's what I understood. If I can go a day without my phone, I don't have a problem. So detox yourself from some dopamine, and maybe do that on a Sunday or something. And go out and enjoy nature. Go and enjoy fresh air. Eat a healthy diet that day. Go out for a run. Go for a walk. Go in nature. Anything that's going to serve you mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually is going to work.